but it is a little after 10, so we'd like to get started. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Bea Olson, and I'm the president of Faith Lutheran WELCA, and I would like to welcome you to our general meeting and annual fundraiser. It's great to see so many here this morning, and this event has been our annual fundraiser for a number of years. But with the advent of COVID, we were unable to gather in 2020 or in 2021. But we're really happy to be together this morning and hope that we have an enjoyable morning for everyone. I'd like to invite Lorna Harrison to offer our devotions this morning.
Good morning. How's everybody? Good. First, I just want to say everyone looks beautiful, okay? So once again, I'm going to say good morning, my sisters in Christ. Women of Faith Lutheran Church, women of the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, women who represent many congregations, and women who love the Lord with all their hearts. We are women who care about the needs of our sisters and brothers all over the world. So this morning, let's focus a little bit on women. And since Pastor is in the room, and to my brother in Christ, you are also a loving servant of the Lord. Okay?
God be praised.
All right. When I think about women in the Bible, my first thought is on Martha, Miss Hospitality. In the book of John, chapter 12, when Jesus came to Bethany at the house of Lazarus, the one he loved and the one he raised from the dead, Martha was the one who served him with her whole heart. As we would say today, she waited on him. Her sister Mary showed her love and caring for Jesus in a much different way. And yes, we all know the story. Mary took a pound of costly perfume, anointed Jesus' feet, and wiped his feet with her hair. Can you imagine using your most expensive perfume to anoint someone else's feet? Think about it. Okay. Just think to yourself, am I a Martha? Am I a Mary? Or am I both? When I think about the women of Faith Lutheran Church and other congregations, I see much love, caring, hospitality, giving, serving. The list could go on and on. We show hospitality as we welcome and greet Sunday mornings, making members and visitors feel welcome coming into the house of the Lord. I see love, I see dedication, service, hospitality at Sunday morning coffee hour, served with a little snack. I see much love and comfort touching the lives of our bereaving families. Yes, phone calls, prayers, sympathy cards, visits, and a repast for all to come together as one to show love to the bereaving family. And yes, I have been a recipient of that love. When I attend the Bible studies, the 4+1, and the mutual ministry group, I see us as being a listening ear to one another, a shoulder to lean on, and an encouragement to one another as we study God's word and talk about the ministry and concerns of the church. I see long-standing members attending new members' classes to make them feel welcome. I'm sure the phone calls every week when COVID was in its peak touched the hearts of many of us. Yes, again, I could go on and on, but I'm going to stop. God has blessed us with spiritual gifts, talents, time, and resources to be in service and to be a blessing to so many. So, let us always remember that in everything we say and everything we do it so that God receives the glory. Amen, 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 and amen.
Thank you, Lorna. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. A wonderful way to start off the morning. First, I would like to make some introductions. First, I would like to introduce our pastor here at Faith Lutheran, Pastor John Barton. You will be hearing from him a little later in the morning. And I'd also like to introduce our WELCA board. Karen Schnoffer is our vice president. Karen. Connie Gibson is our secretary. And Arlene Dressler is our WELCA treasurer. Unfortunately, Arlene is ill and can't be here today, and it was very devastating for her because Arlene has been, this is her event every year when we would have this, and she just loves it. I mean, she's just the driving force, and her ideas and her creativity are just beautiful. And so when she called me this morning about 9 o'clock to say she was just too ill to come, she just, she was almost in tears. So, but she's our treasurer and just an all-around great lady who does an awful lot for our church. Since this is our quarterly meeting, we will have a short business meeting before we go on with the day. I'd like to call on Connie Gibson to present the Secretary's report from our March 17th quarterly WELCA meeting. You can come up here.
I'd rather not, but it's okay.
There are also copies on the tables as well of the Secretary's report.
Good morning, everybody. As Bea said, there's a couple of copies of it. I'll quit my audience here. That's fine. It kind of deters for me. But anyway, I happened to be on vacation during this last general meeting, and Bea was kind enough to take some minutes, so that's what you see at the table. The highlights just include the approval of the prior meeting minutes, the treasurer's report, and an overview of the upcoming events. The program was based on celebrating Ruth Ditch's 99th birthday. Bea presented comments from his family and friends on her remarkable 99 years. Everyone sang happy birthday and had a great time. As we were still dealing with COVID constraints, fellowship to go bags were offered for everyone as they left the meeting. I don't know how many of you were here, but I hear it was a good time. So if there's no comments or questions on the minutes, I guess we should ask for a motion to approve as submitted. Anybody? There you go, Mars, thank you.
A second.
Very good, Linda.
Great, thank you, everybody.
We have a motion to accept in a second, and the minutes are accepted as presented. Arlene would be here to present the treasurer's report, however, she is ill. There are copies of the treasurer's report on the table for you to look at. If there are any questions about that treasurer's report. If not, may I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report? Joanne, a second? Candy, thank you. The motion to accept the treasurer's report is adopted, and the treasurer's report will be filed for audit. Our program for this morning, the speaker, it turned out could not be with us. He called me. His name was Jason White. He's the CEO of Great Life Senior Care, and he was to be our speaker. However, he tested positive for COVID. So he was very apologetic and sorry that he couldn't be here, and asked if he could come at a later date, which I said yes, we would pencil him in for September. So hopefully everything will be well in the world, and that he'll be with us as our speaker. Pastor John very graciously accepted our call for help and has joined us this morning to be one of our speakers. Our fundraiser today will benefit two organizations, Luther Glen Farm and Camp and Lutheran Social Services of Riverside. Luther Glen Farm and Camp sits nearly a mile high on 40 acres in the heart of apple country in the beautiful city of Oak Glen, California. Luther Glen Farm offers summer and winter camps, retreat packages, and an environmental education program around sustainable agriculture with sheep, goats, chickens, horses, pigs, and now alpaca. The Luther Glen Retreat Center offers accommodation for groups of 40, and several years ago, our WELCA ladies went up to Luther Glen for a wonderful retreat. We were there 2 nights and 3 days, and it was a beautiful experience. We got to see the farm, the animals, and of course, the meals that they served were fabulous. And so it was just a nice, refreshing retreat. So, ladies from the Methodist Church, it's an idea. I don't know, I'm sure anybody could go up there, but it was a wonderful, wonderful retreat. And just a time to relax and to get together and to study the Bible. Pastor John will share with us the part that Luther Glen plays in our community and in the church community, and perhaps some of his experiences of working with Luther Glen. Please welcome Pastor John.
Good morning. Before I get into it, like we said, I'm Pastor John, so welcome everyone. I'm glad to be able to step in here and help out. And I did work and go to these camps when I was younger, so I started going to beach camp. I was talking with some folks that I grew up in the Phoenix area of Arizona. For those of you who know it, it's hot in the summer. And it stays hot, and it's dry. And the church that I grew up in said, hey, there's this thing called beach camp. Why don't you come and do it? I'm like, yeah, great, I get to get out of the heat and the sun and have nice sun with the ocean. So I went for 4 summers as a camper, and then I went on to work for camp, and we'll talk more about that later. But one of the big parts of camp is song. And given that we have our Hawaiian theme, I figured let's look for a song that has to do with the waves and the ocean. And so here we have Waves of Mercy. So I'll have us hear from camp this song, and you'll see the words on the screen as well. So we'll watch this as we start off here. So as you can see, camp folks are really about big energy and just having a good time, really. All right, so I have a little slideshow for us here as well. So as you can see, we have Lutheran retreats, camps, and conferences. That's what LRCC stands for. And the closest one to us, the closest location for us, is Luther Glen Farm, formerly known as Ulijwa.
What did that mean?
It meant youth living in Jesus' way, Ulijwa. And so when I worked there, that's what that camp was called. Since then, it's gone through a lot of changes. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I wanted to show a couple pictures of my experience there, including, let's see here, what's going on. Let me restart that real quick. This one. This is the camp photo from my first summer as a camper at beach camp, like I was saying. Where am I? Right there. That tall string bean in the back. That's me. Yeah, we had a great group of folks. We had all kinds of wonderful people, including, can't really see her that well right here, but my first camp counselor, her name was Becca Ager, who is now a pastor as well. She was the pastor for our ELCA church in Lake Elsinore for a little while. Now she's on the East Coast. But yep, there I am. So like I said, I did 4 summers as a camper, and that was just such an amazing experience to be able to go and meet new folks in this environment where we get to play on the beach, but also really learn to just be nice people together with the background and the atmosphere of faith. I mean, we think of the timing that I was going for this middle school into high school, and it turns out that sometimes that can be a rough period in our lives. I mean, middle school wasn't the nicest experience for me. And so to be able to get done with that year, go to beach camp, I looked forward to it all year. Once I had finished that 4th year, I was a couple years older than the next oldest camper, and I realized I can't really be a camper anymore, but I still want camp in my life. So I became a staff in training. I think you can probably, well, I don't have the beard in this picture, but I think you can probably figure out which one is me. Yep, red shirt, exactly. Staff in training, SIT for short, was such a formative time to be able to go around and really see the other side of camp, the background, and how to actually lead those other campers. It was a really, really amazing time with these other young men who, most of whom I've still kept in touch with. The guy next to me in the light yellow shirt, he's now a cruise director. The guy on the end is he's in the Army. He's an officer in the Army. So I mean, we all have these very different paths that we take after camp, but we have that to take with us. As you see here, more and more folks joined together. My second camp counselor was the guy in the red shirt there. His name's Josiah Canto. Yeah, exactly. People who are involved with camp in the last 20 years generally know who Josiah is, because he's been involved with it that long.
He worked with the youth at my former church.
Yeah. So he's been summer staff. He's been year-round staff. He's done all kinds of stuff with camp and is still connected. So you get all these crazy cool folks that we get to know. You also be silly at camp. You learn how to be a holy fool, if you will. You pick flowers and you do your hair silly, and it's good stuff. But all of this is this background of faith that we learn. We have the silliness, we have the great songs, we have the environment of beach camp. We're up in the mountains, now with farm as well. Day camps, so vacation Bible school-esque. The camps will send out groups of counselors to churches and essentially run a vacation Bible school for a week. I had that experience as well. I had the fortunate ability to, most summers, do every kind of camp there was. Beach camp, mountain camp, day camp, all kinds of good stuff. Get to have these nice big sunsets and big groups of folks. I did staff for LRCC, staff in training, and then 4 years of on-staff time. My middle year of that time, the middle of those 5 years, I had been reflecting on my time as a camper and then working at camp. And as a little bit of background, for summer staff, it's 8 weeks. You have 2 weeks of staff training, 6 weeks of camp. And at the end of those 2 weeks of staff training, everyone gets together before we go off to our various sites. And we have a commissioning worship service. And this particular one was up at then Ulijua, now Luther Glen, and Pastor Glenn Eggertson, he opened the floor up for folks to talk about what they wanted to talk about. Their hopes for the summer, their love for camp, right? And a couple people went up and I decided, yeah, I'm gonna get up and speak because this is something that's really, really important to me. Some of you may have heard this story a little bit before, but I'm gonna tell it again anyway. And I got up there and I talked about how, as this long string bean from Arizona going to camp, getting out of the heat, it was more than that as a camper. That the experience of camp, the positive and the faithful and the unjudging atmosphere really allows folks to become who they really are, who God intended them to be. I got up there and I said to my fellow staff members who were about to go up to camp and start the proper camping summer, I said, the campers that we're about to encounter, they're our next teachers. They're our next politicians. They're our next first responders. They're our next pastors. So this is important, what we do. And when I said that pastor piece, Pastor Glenn, who was sitting out in the audience, spoke up and said, hey, you could do that too.
Not me.
Hadn't really occurred to me. I mean, I knew that faith was important in my life. I knew that camp was important. I knew that I probably wanted to involve something in that, but until that point, I really hadn't made that breakthrough. Until Pastor Glenn had pointed out, hey, you can do that too. I thought I was just getting up there trying to inspire others, and then here I am with my whole worldview changed. So, I mean, this is something that I can really point to as a call moment. It's how I got to be where I am, where I led to coming to college and having a religious studies degree, and then going on to seminary up in the Bay Area at Pacific Lutheran Theological Seminary. And then, on to here. So, when I was in college and doing that religious studies degree, I also did campus ministry. So I have camping and campus ministry in my background. And I heard a statistic at some point that something like 75% of people who are going to be clergy in our denomination have that background of either camping or campus or both ministry that helped form their faith life. So the fact that we continue to support our camping ministry, that in the past we've had campus ministry and hope to begin that again. This is what we do, even where we find ourselves in this community of classic folks. We are still a church together with the youngest, looking over there at you, little one, Ben, to our most experienced. We are church together, and we are able to create that future through God's help, through supporting our young ones and each other in the same process. Just a little bit more, we probably saw that video before, that Waves of Mercy, in the beginning of the pandemic, because camp realized that we were all going through a really tough time together. I didn't know what was going on. I was a new pastor. The pastor at the campus ministry, who'd been a pastor for 40 years, gave me a call and said, "Hey, you know what to do with this?" And I said, "Nope." He said, "Nope, I don't either. We're all on the same page here." And camp said, "Well, let's help out with that." They were struggling financially, but they said, "Nope, we're going to still give. We're still going to give to our church brothers and sisters. We're going to create videos from camp, songs and children's messages, and they can use them in whatever way they want." And we did that. We were able to have some really fun, energetic music in our worship online, and then some when we were back in person. And so the fact that we can help each other out is really amazing. Now, we're going to be sending some of our youth to camp. We were hoping to send them to Minneapolis for the National Youth Gathering, but again, the residual pandemic effects, unfortunately, canceled that. So camp said, "Hey, we can work with that. Let's recreate camp and call it Rebound, a youth gathering alternative." So same dates as the youth gathering was going to be, but we're going to have folks come up and fill up the camp. So we're going there 45 minutes away to Luther Glen. We're going to have, just like the youth gathering, a service day, a learning day, a out and about fun day. We're going to recreate those things and have speakers and fun times, and really what it's all about, to learn in faith in God. So we get to do that. And one more thing, by a show of hands, how many of you have actually been to Ulijua or Luther Glen? Good amount of folks. Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. Well, they're always happy to host folks up there in person, but even if we can't make it there in person, we have the opportunity to do a tour of the farm, should we want to. And they create a Zoom link, so those who want to tune in from their home can. Those who are less familiar with Zoom, we'll gather right here. I'll put it up on this screen, just like we're doing right now, and we can have a live tour of the camp and talk with the staff there and get to see what is actually there. Get to see this nice big barn. Get to see those alpaca and the dogs and the 2 pigs and the chickens and the places where I worked. And so many of our youth, known and unknown, have and will go to grow in faith together with God. So, just something to keep in mind. We'll talk some more about that later on. Any questions that I can field right now? Any wonderings about camp or your own memories about camp, maybe? If not, I have another song for us to close my portion of it out. All right.
You guys used to, what was it you guys used to call?
So really, that's a pretty topical song for us in the last couple of years. We had our sickness, we had our sorrows, but really, when we stick together through all of that, we say, yes, Lord, you can take those things from us and replace them with your peace and your grace and your faith. So thank you for having me and the ability to come and talk about camp. Just one more thing, we will actually have some of those camp folks come out later in the early fall, I think in September, to come and help us do a youth day, a camp Sunday as well. They're going to come and bring some of those songs live to our sanctuary, coming to a sanctuary near you. So, just some exciting stuff for us to keep on the horizon for us. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. I think everybody enjoyed hearing about camp. And obviously, they're doing a good service to our community. Our second guest today is Denise Marshall. Denise is an area director for Lutheran Social Services. She oversees and monitors all aspects of the Riverside program operation. Denise establishes new programs to meet community needs. On a regular basis, she loves collaborating with churches, cities, counties, and other nonprofits in addressing concerns and needs for the homeless population. Denise is a motivational and encouraging professional, certified in counseling, psychology. She's a natural leader with strong empathy and deep commitment to help individuals and families in crisis. Please welcome Denise Marshall.
Good morning, and thank you. Pastor, I was listening to you talk about Arizona. Funny story. My daughter was attending ASU 2012, 2016, and I would often take my vacations and weekends to go up and check on her. And so when I go up, we get a hotel room and we just live large for the weekend or whatever. And so I went up during the early times, and I went up there during the summer. It was really hot. And so we're at the hotel, and I told my daughter, I'm going down to the pool. It looked big and everything. And so I went on, and as I was going out the door, I kind of heard her mumble, you're going to be like a lobster. But, I didn't think anything else of it. And so as I was getting closer to the pool, I got excited because there wasn't hardly anybody in the pool. I was like, yeah, I got it all to myself. Saw a few people under an umbrella somewhere. I was like, this is so cool. So I throw my towel, and I go jumping off into the water. And it was like, ah! It was so hot. I heard the lobster part. I don't know what it feels like to be a lobster in boiling water, but that didn't feel good at all. It was and I laughed about it when I got back upstairs. She goes, it was hot, huh? And I go, it was boiling hot. And she's like, I told you. So, hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. I am so grateful to be here again. This is not my first time here. I've always felt so very welcomed when I come here. So I'm very grateful to be here again in the house. I see a few faces that I remember from before, so I'm really extra grateful to the God that we serve, that we actually are here, with everything that has gone on in the last couple of years. I just thank God continuously for keeping me, and I'm sure that you do as well. Speaking of the things that we went through with the COVID situation, it was so different for us and the services that we do. We do I walk around a lot, I'm sorry, I'll try to stay put. We do,
Agreed with you.
That'll be worse. I'll kind of stay put a little bit. The people we serve, you all know us to work with the homeless individuals in the community with emergency services and with housing and so forth and so on. During COVID, we really didn't miss a beat as far as operating. There was one time I think my office was closed for about 2 weeks because one of our volunteers had contracted the COVID. So it was early on, and my HR, and it was our first event of having someone with COVID. So it was we had people come in with outfits, the exterminators kind of thing. It was huge, and so we were down, but we returned back to work and continued as normal. During that 2 weeks, we were on the phone with folks, so they still had access to us. We gave resources for anyone we knew that may have actual, places to go into. The thing that was so heartbreaking to me was, and a life experience, was the face of the people that we served during COVID. Normally we serve people who are financially restricted. They need help trying to make their ends meet, to have groceries and so forth and so on. During COVID, I saw many people like you and I with own homes, with jobs, professionals. I remember, it comes to my mind, I had one of the first families that I worked with. He was a business owner, and she was a substitute teacher who had been consistently employed prior to COVID. Both of them found themselves with no means of income. They had no resources. Well, the resources that they had, they began to use up early on. So by the time they came to me, they were in desperate need of service. They found out that we did mortgage assistance. And so they came to see about getting a mortgage payment paid. And so we assisted in that way. And when the husband came, and we got into a conversation, he was telling me that they also had food insecurities going on in their household. And they had a small child and didn't have like the diapers and whatever. And so I was just so grateful that we had everything there. It's like we have it here. Not only can we pay your mortgage, but we can also give you food, a food voucher, or we can give you clothing if you need clothing, or diapers for your kid. So it was an eye-opening experience to see that we were working with everybody. There was no one excluded from having a difficult time during COVID. And so I just thank God that we were able to continue to do the serving that we did, even when it came to the holidays. In November of last year, we were able to, with donations that we received, we were able to help 47 families with Thanksgiving dinner baskets. So they included turkeys, all the fixings for Thanksgiving. And so it was wonderful to be able to still be able to commit to being there for those folks who were in need. And in December, the overflow of toys was magnificent. We normally have a lot of toys each year, but last year it was just so many, and pajamas, and we were able to, and by this time, by Thanksgiving and by Christmas, we were operating back with our doors open. We were still under the mask restriction, and we would set up outside our offices and have the families to come and receive the things that we had. I was trying to remember, we also normally we will do like hot chocolate or something at Christmas and the cookies. One of the volunteers came and had cookies in a packaged cookies already, and I was so grateful because I didn't think. I was like, I was just gonna do normal, and I didn't think. I was like, oh, we can't just like give cookies and set them out like we did the last time. We have to really do this different. So it was just a wonderful experience of but adjusting to what we were going through, and then coming out on this side of it miraculously and blessed with the things that we did. And then I didn't mention about the families with the Christmas. We count every member in the family when we record how many we help. And so by counting every member of the family, we were able to help 248 people at Christmas with gifts. And there was some, that's awesome. And that included, some moms were able to get, a few things. There were blankets for the families and things like that. So it was a wonderful experience. There was not all sadness and during COVID. One thing came out of COVID that is truly big in Riverside now. We are doing the Showers of Hope. This is our first time working with showers for the homeless. When I was approached, I'm sorry too, we're now, some of you probably remember we were in our own property in Riverside, and then in 2019 we had a new leadership, and it was decided that we would sell our properties, and the thought was that it would give, if we moved into the churches, the Lutheran church, it would bring more revenue to the church. And so we did. So we moved into the campus of Trinity Lutheran Church in downtown, near downtown Riverside. And so one day I was approached by Trinity and the Showers of Hope and Path of Life and asked if we wanted to collaborate with the Showers of Hope. I immediately thought that would be a wonderful opportunity because it would give us the opportunity to do outreach to those who attend the shower. Lutheran Social Services is very strong in its commitment to go the distance with you. So it was my desire to be able to meet those coming for the showers, interact with them, get to know them, and then see where they wanted to go with them, with their life, and to support them on that journey. And so I saw the opportunity of the Showers of Hope being that opportunity. We generally have about 30 folks that come each week for the showers. Most of them are duplicates. They have returned. They have been to the showers before. When we first started, they would come for the showers. We would offer lunch. We would offer, if they needed a bus pass to get somewhere, we would offer bus passes. Clothing was the biggest thing as well. So they take a shower, they would want clean clothing. So we had clothing, shoes, belts, socks, underwear, things of that nature. One of a big thing that they're asking for now too is the ID vouchers. If you think about it, it all goes hand in hand, and it makes me feel good because I know that once you have a shower, you're starting to feel more human, and there's things that you want to start pouring back into yourself. So when they come to me and they ask me for an ID voucher, which I work with the Department of Motor Vehicles, State of California, to have, it makes me feel good that they want to have these ID vouchers. Now, there's a few folks that keeps losing that voucher, and I give them heck when they come, and I go, what happened to the last one I gave you? I don't know, I lost it, or someone took it, or the police took all my stuff, you know, and I'm like, okay. And so I have a bunch of them, so, and I don't have a limit, so I just go ahead and do it again. So the ID vouchers and hygiene products, we also like to give them out hygiene products as well. And so that was the things that we were kind of doing at the beginning. Well, as it has evolved in time now, I think it's probably been about 4 or 5 months, I don't know for sure. We're all Trinity, the Showers of Hope people, we're just really collaborating more. I get the opportunity to do case management, meaning that we try to make them our family once they come and get something from us. You know, you're mine now, you know, so we try to make sure, because not everyone at first will give you the idea that they want to be housed. And I know sometimes when you're working with homeless, that becomes a frustration. But that's just an outer, from my experience, it's just been an outer layer, you know, because I'm nosy too. I'm a nosy person. When they say, you know, you're gonna go see, some people call me Miss Denise, some call me Denise. When you're gonna go see Miss Denise, she's gonna ask you questions, and I do, you know, and it's not because it's formatted for a grant or anything like that. It's just what God requires of us. It requires for us to meet them where they are, you know. And so I enjoy doing it. I found out over the many years that I have been doing this, that it isn't just for them, it's for me too. You know, it's for me to be able to be engaged and to understand more of what's going on, so that when I'm with the county or the city or any other collaboration of folks who are working towards making this better, it gives me the opportunity to share that experience and to share what some folks are going through. And so I look forward to that in more years to come. We also kept going the pantry. We have a food pantry that is for those with housing that have cooking capabilities. During COVID, we did it like we'll set it in your trunk kind of thing, which was kind of fun, you know, except for when it rained. That was a little difficult, trying to lug a bag of food and an umbrella out to the car, but we made it work, you know, and that was the key to it all. That we didn't want to be out of service because of a pandemic, because we knew the pandemic was going to be more. The rental assistance that we did during that time was just a bunch. I'm sorry I didn't bring like statistics, and I probably will send them over to you later, but from my head and from what I can recall, we did about 70 to 80 households with rental assistance with the Emergency Food and Shelter Program. We usually call it EFSP. It's through United Way. So we were able to pay, well, it started off with just 1 month's rent, but what happened, there was a lot of CARES money that came out, the CARES Act came, so there was money just kind of pouring out. And so with the CARES EFSP, we were told that we could use two of those. So we can use, I could have did the regular EFSP and I think we had a EFSP CARES. So some people received 2 months of rental assistance. And so it really helped a lot. We had a grant from the County of Riverside Emergency Solutions grant that was geared for us to house homeless individuals. I housed 5 homeless individuals with that act. 4 of them are still housed now. Unfortunately, I have one that actually called me at 11 p.m. last night. I was like, seriously? My cell number is on my business card. So once it got out there, was no way of bringing it back in. So, and I do answer the phone. With the exception of him, but we're still supporting him. We're still trying to work together, keep outreach teams out there with him, and trying to get him into permanent supportive housing. And then, so that was, I told you, ESG, EFSP. So all total, we did about 76, 80, 94 households to stabilize in their house during COVID, and I think that was good too for us. Some people ask me a lot about what do I see us doing in the future or what our goals is. I'm going to tell a little bit about some of the things that are my personal goals, and one of them definitely is to increase the staffing. By the grace of God, I have had so many interns and volunteers to be with us during the shower days. A lot came and they did, not virtual, what do you call it? They called on the phone. They took applications for the rental assistance. So I never have done any of this without the help of these students. Most of my students come from Cal Baptist University, and then there's a few that come from Loma Linda University. And then we have volunteers that have come from the SERS program, the seniors returning for training. I have one now that's been with me for about 4 months. And I would love to be able to hire her permanently. We are working on increasing services as well. I'd like to do more. Right now we have a financial consultant who is a jewel. He just happened to pop up into my office when we were at our old address, and he said that, you know, I am a financial consultant. And I was like, okay, like what will that have to do with all of us and the people I deal with? And he says, I just want to give back. He says, I want to give back to folks who could otherwise not afford my services. And I was like, are you serious? I said, well, how would you like consult someone that, you know, doesn't have an income, or someone that's getting like minimum like Social Security, SSI. He goes, I can do it, you know. And so here it is 5 years later, and he's still working with our families. He's working with no, this is a true story. I've seen him talk with someone about saving $10 a month. And I thought, okay, and do you know that person, that young man that was saving, he now lives in Arizona too, now that I think of it, is really doing good. He's so happy he has a savings account. I don't know what's in it now, but it's open. And so I think that's a wonderful thing for him. I would like to go back and also add more workshops to what John is our consultant, to what he is doing, which would be some life skills workshops. We used to have Dress to Impress for job searches. Those are the things that is on my goal list to have back in effect now that we're back in, you know, we can do these things in person now. So that's also one of my goals. My biggest goal, my biggest personal goal, is to return to transitional housing. Is there anyone in here remember at Genesis House or Amelia's Light? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We ran 2 transitional housing programs for homeless women and the children. One was a 26 unit out at March Air Force Base. It was Amelia's Light. And the other one was an 8 unit at Genesis Shares, which was the property I actually was working out of in Riverside. In 2014, HUD had changed their direction with the funding, and the funding went for the rapid rehousing, for getting people directly off the street into housing. Unfortunately, we weren't able to obtain any funding because we were transitional, and we were also transitional on our lease with March Air Force Base. So we could not do anything permanent, is what I was trying to say, with that lease. We were able to get a little bit of help and quickly turn Genesis House into an 8-unit, into permanent supportive housing. Why it's so personal that we get back to that is because that's why I took the job, was because of the transitional housing. I was working for the County of Riverside. I retired from the County of Riverside in 2009. I was one day short of being retired for a whole year when the director of Familius Light in Genesis House called me and says, "Hey, do you really want to be retired?" You know, it's like, later she told me she was jealous that I was retired. Yeah. But I was like, why? You know, she goes, "I really would like if you would come and run our programs. You know, you did a really good job and with them when you worked for the county." And for the county, we had programs that we would involve the ladies in the Genesis House program. We would bring them over for training, different how to navigate the system. If you have kids in foster care, if you had like some issues going on, any kind of issues, we were able to kind of help because we were the beginning of the peer specialists. So we always planted someone who had navigated that system that could help you and support you to navigate through the system as well. And so I remember one time the director had called me when I was working for the county, and she said, "Can you come over?" And she says, "I just want you to speak directly to one of our clients." I said, "Okay, well, I can do that." And I go, what's presenting, what's going on? And she said, "She doesn't know how to boil water." And I'm like, this is my director. I was like, "You're so over, I'm sure everybody knows how to boil water." I literally went and met with the girl and explained to her how to boil water. I know you're probably sitting there going, "What?" She was a young mom. There was a couple of times I was like, "So have you ever turned on a stove? Or have you, done this?" She's turned on the stove before, but she never boiled water. And so that was the first part of when it became super, super, super important to me. Like, this is what I want to do. So when she asked me, I really didn't have any problem with it. And what really solidified my desire to do it was the fact that the mission of Lutheran Social Services, it's just like me. God is all in it, and so I just wanted to just be a part of it. 12 years later, I had no idea. When I said yes and would go there, I had no idea that I would be there 12 years. And so here I am, 12 years. Thank you. My supervisor asked me yesterday, "What is one of your personal goals?" Like, really, really personal. I go, "That's easy. Full retirement will be good." This year I had the experience of being like haunted by Medicare. I was like, "What is this?" Everybody was calling me. So I'm all Medicare. In Medicare now, and I'm so happy about that. So I'm looking for a full retirement, but I don't want to go anywhere until I see this transitional housing come back to life. Amen. Amen. Yes, ma'am.
When you do, will you call us and tell us?
Absolutely.
Because we just love what we were able to do for Amelia's Light.
Absolutely.
And we'd love to do that again.
Absolutely, yes. I want to let you guys know that I don't know if you all do social media, but I have probably at least maybe half of the the women that were in that program on my social media. And I am just so proud. One is working, I just ran into her at Home Depot, and she's working at Home Depot, and she was just telling me that she's qualified, she's in a program through housing where she's qualified to buy her own home. Like, she saves up so much money and they will match it. And so she said, Miss Denise, I'll probably be in my home in about 2 years. She said, I'm a grandma, I'm getting ready to be a grandma now, I need to have a home. And I was like, praise God, because she was really one of our difficult women, but yeah, it's good. So yes, I will definitely let you know. Okay. And anybody else have any questions? You, did I get everything? Okay.
I don't have a question,
Yes.
but I can say we will all keep you in prayer for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless. Thank you.
I think we all enjoy that, hearing what Lutheran Social Services does and being reminded, even though we may have known. This concludes our speakers for the morning, and I hope you have enjoyed hearing about these two very worthy organizations. Since this is a Hawaiian beach party, some of our members have showed up in their favorite beach hats. Well, the contest, supposedly, was Arlene's idea, so I'm not really familiar with it, but I would like the ladies who have hats to come up here and parade them. Put your hats on, ladies, and come on up here and let's see what you've got. Don't be shy. Just come on up here and show yourself off to all the ladies in the audience.
Here we go.
Well, how about that? Don't we think they did a good job? We don't have a prize, and Julie was supposed to be a judge. First she probably heard of it. That was Arlene telling me that. We'll blame that on Arlene. How about we just give them another round of applause? Thank you, ladies. Thank you. As you can see, we've got a number of lovely gift baskets out here. And when you arrived, you received a ticket, which you put your name on, and you put it into the bowl. And so I'm going to ask Joanne and Karen to come up here, and we'll do a drawing for a couple, 2, 3 baskets. Pardon? Well, we'll do those a little bit later. So we're going to just draw for probably 3 baskets, and then we're going to kind of adjourn for lunch. The ladies can set that up, and they'll have an opportunity to buy more opportunity tickets. And so maybe during lunch or after lunch, we'll do some more drawings for you. And so, but Joanne and Karen are going to come up here and we're going to draw for a few baskets. So what happens is they will draw a card, and whoever it is can come up and choose any one of these 9 baskets.
Okay, are you ready?
Ta-da! Drum roll.
Grab the mic, Joanne.
Switch it this way. All right, so our first winner is Ruth Ditch, who is not here today.
Ruth is one
one of our longtime members. In fact, we celebrated her 99th birthday. She gave us a very generous donation, even though she couldn't be here. So we decided to put her.
Turn the mic back.
So we decided to put her name in there. So perhaps somebody can pick a basket for Ruth.
Yeah, Mars. Mars. Oh,
Or Mars.
Go for
Yeah.
it, Mars.
something with chocolate, I would imagine would be
Yeah.
more than welcome. And then Mars, and each of you whose name is called, just slip this underneath the basket so we can see it. And that way the baskets can sit up here until it's time to go home.
Frederica.
Oh, Frederica's here, good. Okay, let's toss her in.
Oh, look at her.
Okay, and then we have, let's see, Ellie Borchman.
What's the number?
It's any of the baskets up
Any
here
on
at
this
the
table
table.
here, Ellie.
Right. Put this under whatever basket you choose. Yeah, basket. Okay, Karen. All right, next. Okay. Oh, Eleanor Diaz.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo, step right up. Sure, that's fine. Whatever you think. There you go, my dear. Congratulations. Okay, one more, Karen.
Okay. I'll go way under this time.
She just handed me her name. She has been like closing her eyes and digging down. Only fair that is.
Yes.
Pick another one.
No.
You-
All right.
You have to do it.
And we'll be drawing more later, B? Yeah, okay. Thank you for your attention. And we still have winners. Winners, winners, winners. We are all winners.
That's right.
I'll just leave this right here now. No messing with it.
Thank you, Joanne and Karen. So we're going to take a break now, and this will give you time to buy some more opportunity tickets for the gifts that are over there, and the ladies are going to set up for lunch. And we'll have some drawings during lunch, and we'll finish up after lunch. So our luncheon today is catered by Gracie's Lunchbox, which is a restaurant here in Sun City. And let's close with the table grace, and then we'll be all ready for lunch. And but we'll give the ladies a few minutes to get it set up, okay? So let's, the table grace is on the program that you have, that should be on your tables. Oh, what is this? I don't have it. I don't know what happened with the printing, but anyway. Can somebody start us with the table grace? Is it on some of your programs? No. Is it D?
Mars will start us off. Do you want to say?
Yeah, Mars, yeah.
Present at our table, Lord, is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Be present at our table, Lord.
Be here and everywhere adore. These mercies bless and grant that we may thankful for thy service be. For those that are new here, the restrooms are out the double doors and to your left down the hall. And so we'll take about a 10-minute break and then we'll have lunch.